Welcome to What I Love About Sex, where some incredible guests and I, Steph Kanowski, will be bringing you the tools for improving your sex life with topics such as sex issues with your partner, sexual self-confidence, premature ejaculation, sexual shame, masturbation, sharing your fetishes, orgasmic pleasure, and more. Sex is still so taboo, and I personally believe that by improving our understanding and communication skills around sex, we can enhance our own self-pleasure as well as deepening our long-term romantic relationships. So listen in, try to stay open-minded, and let's get started. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Today I'm going to be talking about porn, but before we dive into this topic, I just want to say thank you to everyone who is rating and reviewing the podcast, giving me feedback on Instagram. It's really helpful to know what is helping you so that I can help you even better and clearer. So it's always nice to hear, hey, the dick episode really helped. I'm feeling a lot better. Thank you, that spoke to me, that resonated. It just helps me provide better content in the future. So thanks, guys. I appreciate you. All right, so diving into today's episode around porn. I said it was going to be around porn and masturbation, but really, let's just start with the basics of porn today. I just want to do basic pros and cons, play devil's advocate a little bit, and this is not to talk you into doing porn. As many of you know, I'm pro-porn. But I do believe there are harmful side effects to it, and it can get out of hand when you're mentally losing control of it. So I totally understand that. But in the grand scheme of things, I am pro-porn. So what I mean by that is that I can acknowledge the benefits of porn, and I won't just shut it out and say it's something that nobody should use ever. There are times and places where it works for certain people under certain circumstances for certain lengths of time. And I believe it's a matter of being very mindful of using this as a tool to enhance your sex life. So my intention for this podcast is to just give you a perspective around porn that maybe you haven't seen or taken a look at in a while, and also maybe help you make your decision as to whether you want to stop porn completely, whether you want to continue at the rate you're going, or maybe pull back a little bit. Or maybe you want to just use porn a little more to enhance your sex life with yourself or with your partner. So let's start with the cons. So con number 1, porn can be or become compulsive. It can turn into a compulsive behavior where it's this mindless act of just needing this thing to feel this certain feeling, and it just becomes habitual, right? You just want to keep doing it. You find yourself doing it at times when you really don't want to, and it leads to addiction for a certain amount of men. Not all men does it lead to addiction. So it's just because you've gone through an addiction or have the feeling of I might be addicted does not mean that porn will do this for everyone. But if you do have an addictive personality, you have to be cautious around this. So being extra mindful around porn will help you to not fall trapped to that. Okay, con number 2 is it leads you to compare your body parts. So I was actually talking to a client yesterday about this, and he was like, Steph, I don't see many dicks outside of porn. Like, it's my own dick, and then it's porn. So I want to stop watching porn. He was saying, I want to stop watching just due to the fact that it's this, even whether I like it or not, it's this constant comparison of my dick size, and I don't have the best relationship with my dick right now, so why make it worse or strengthen that negative relationship by watching porn and continuing that comparison, which I completely am supporting and believe is true. If you do have a negative relationship with how you feel about your dick or about your sex life, and then you're watching porn and feeling negative feelings around it, don't watch it. It's not helping you. It's making things worse. So when you are aware of that, it makes sense to pull back on this thing. It is no longer a sexual enhancer. it's making things worse, and that is obvious. So be mindful, do what's best for you, and pull away from that thing. So this is something I speak to my clients of often is, okay, what's your relationship like with your dick? How would you describe it? And this is an exercise I've been doing lately that makes a lot of guys aware of things they haven't really been aware of before, because it's like, all right, when was the last time you were asked that? like what is your relationship like to your dick? And a lot of guys are like, wow, like, it feels weird to write this down because I have them write it down. Or it feels weird to say the word dick out loud, like my dick. Or it feels weird to talk about my dick in a way that's not shameful. Or, it's hard to say anything that doesn't involve shame or involve talking down about myself sexually. So it's a really interesting exercise. I would stop and pause this video and just ask yourself, what is my relationship like with my dick? Like, how do I feel about this part of my body? What is that relationship like? And that will give you a strong indicator as to, it will help you realize what porn is doing to make that relationship worse or better. So pretty interesting. All right, number 3, a third con is the psychological numbing and the brain's pretty much a dopamine desensitization. So, and I don't know if neuroscientists would put it that way. I don't know if I phrased it correctly, but pretty much the fact that if you reach a certain point of dopamine and hit this feeling of a thrill, your dopamine is somewhat like overflowing in your brain, and your brain doesn't want to let too much in. So it starts closing off the dopamine receptors. So now you have to go out of your way to get that same high by consuming more porn or something different or even crazier or more thrilling. So it puts you in this place of, okay, this isn't doing it for me anymore like it used to. What can I look for now to chase that thrill or chase that sexual high? And what happens sometimes is that you guys can't, like, some men end up not finding that thrill in their real sex life, so they actually can only find it or feel that high with porn because maybe their real sex life is more vanilla. She's not comfortable with the things that will give them that thrill, and that's where it gets really tricky, where it's like, all right, my brain is playing tricks on me. But the best part is that the brain is plastic, and you can change your brain patterns by changing your behavior and being mindful around it. And yeah, so let's go to con number 4, which is you may no longer want your partner, and this kind of goes hand in hand with the last one, you may no longer want your partner for sex or feel the need for sex with your partner. So if, for instance, if you're chasing that dopamine high, that may be one reason. Also, if your partner is constantly rejecting you, you start to look at porn as this thing where it's like, all right, well, porn doesn't reject me. Let me just go to porn. And you stop initiating sex with your partner and you start just automatically going towards porn being your go-to sex life tool. And then it becomes this thing that just takes over your relationship and starts damaging your intimate relationship with your partner. So all of these things obviously are no good. We don't want this, right? And these cons do not affect everyone. So just because they're cons doesn't mean every single person will experience these cons of porn, just as not everyone will experience the pros. So we're going to go to the pros now. And, you know, if you feel as though, oh, no, porn is just this terrible thing, just try to open your mind and have an open mind listening to this next part of just acknowledging that there are pros. There are many people who experience the pros. And I've had just as much men reach out and say, hey, I have a pretty good relationship with porn. You know, I use it with my girlfriend or my wife, and we use it to get her off quicker, or it really turns us on and gets us in the mood. It gives us new ideas. So there's a lot of good that can come from this too, especially when you look at it as a tool. So pro number 1 of porn is that it can heat things up for couples, right? It can introduce more spice, more heat, just get things going a little quicker. If you had a long day, you're trying to get in the mood, put on some porn, watch it together, get inspired, go at it. So it's good to get things going. Another pro is that it is a self-pleasure tool. So if you don't have a partner and you want to feel like you're a part of something, it allows you to take part in something that you're not physically a part of, but you can share an experience by viewing other people, fulfilling your own fantasies, by watching certain types of porn, and it can just be that tool to enhance your self-pleasure and help get you off, help you, yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay. Pro number 3 is sharing, and this is an interesting one, and I think this is a really big benefit when it comes to communicating awkward sexual conversations. So porn can help initiate new ideas in your sex life with your partner if you have a fear of judgment. So for instance, if you saw a porn, maybe you didn't even see one, but you go and find one purposely around bondage because you want to start trying it with your partner, but you don't want to just go up to them and randomly say, hey, I'm into this. You want to try it? It's more like, hey, what do you think about this porn? It kind of turned me on. Does it turn you on? I want you to watch it. Tell me what you think. And it's a porn around bondage. So this can introduce a sexual idea much easier. And if you have that fear of judgment, it feels like a better way to communicate it or introduce it. It's more comfortable. It kind of feels like, okay, well, I'm not the only one. Like, these people here are doing it. There are many porns around bondage. So plus it gives your partner an open mind because it's not you just coming straight up and saying, hey, I want this. It's kind of like, hey, what do you think of this? It starts a more open discussion. Another pro of porn is it gives beginners better ideas. And even if you're not a beginner, like say you've just been having more vanilla sex for most of your life and you want to try new things. And you say you've been talking to friends who have tried something, or you're just at the age where you're like, hey, I should be trying stuff at least once. Like, let's see what else. Let's see what there is. And it just gives you a way to inspire yourself, inspire your sex life, get some new ideas in there, and yeah, get a feel for what it looks like. I know that the majority of the time, sex doesn't give the realistic interpretation of what sex looks like, but it does give somewhat of a variety of different types of fantasies and types of sex that you can then get inspired by. All right, so these are the pros. And now that we've talked about pros and cons, and just as I said with the cons, the pros aren't going to affect everyone either. Just because you're watching porn doesn't mean you're going to feel all of these pros or experience these pros. All right, these are just possible pros and cons that you are pretty much putting yourself at risk to when you watch porn. Just as when you drink alcohol. Like, where are you going to take it? Why are you drinking it? For what reasoning? Are you mindful around it? Are you watching your behavior around it? Are you monitoring that? So it's kind of like, all right, well, like, what do I have to fucking, like, be super aware every time I watch porn? Like, carry around a journal to, like, monitor my progress? I honestly think you should be very, very mindful, probably more mindful than you are now when you're going into porn, to make sure that it doesn't just become this mindless habit where it's just like, oh, I'm like a zombie, and whatever I feel like my brain is completely off, I just watch porn. Like, I don't think that's the best way to initiate this to your brain. I would say, and this is just my opinion, I would say use it wisely, use it mindfully, have intention behind it, before watching. Okay, why am I watching this? All right, like, how am I feeling about it after I watch it? And if you're feeling like shit after you watch it, understand why you're feeling like shit. Is it is it sexual shame? Like, is it religious shame? Is it because your friends are doing the no fap and you feel like a loser for watching porn, but you really want to? Like, is it hurting you or is it enhancing you, your sex life? Is it hurting you or helping you? Are you feeling shit or are you feeling neutral or pretty good or whatever afterwards? So pay attention to that. Pay attention to your reasoning for going in and then how you feel after. And this should just be a little awareness practice to see where you are now when you're watching porn, just to monitor, okay, I think I'm in the safe zone. I feel like whenever I go into it, it's just, I want to get off. I had a long day. I just want to spend a few minutes on there. Then you go on, you spend a few minutes, you're done. And then afterwards you're like, all right, job done. Cool. All right. I'll put this away. Like, it's not like it's draining on you. Some guys stop and then they're like, fuck, why did I do that? Oh, I really need to stop. This is such a horrible habit. What am I doing? So if you're feeling like that, ask yourself the same thing. What is the trigger? What led you there? What was your reasoning? And then why are you feeling shitty? Are you feeling shitty because of how other people are making you feel or how society is making you feel? Or are you feeling shitty because you just feel like crap? Like you just feel like you're watching way too much. You feel out of control. You feel like it's getting on your mind like a lot of the time. You feel like you're comparing your dick. You feel like it's making you lose connection with your girlfriend. Like, if those are the feelings, I would say back off. So be mindful around, is this hurting me or is this helping me? And when I feel really shitty, is it because I feel guilty around what other people think? Or is this my choice because I realize it's damaging my sex life with myself or with my partner or partners? So that's what I mean when I say gaining more control. Have the mindfulness around it. Because when you know your why and you know what feelings you're trying to get out of this situation and what feelings you're trying to leave with, you grasp that control. All right. And if you realize they're not the right feelings and you really want to back off, then it's time to create a plan of action to back off. So just because I'm pro porn doesn't mean I think every man should be watching porn. If you feel like you have a problem with it, pull away from it. Realize when it's taking over your mind, when it's consuming your thoughts, when it's driving you with these huge amounts of guilt and maybe like self-deprecation, like in terms of like body image or just the way you look at yourself, the way you communicate during sex. Like maybe it's making you really aggressive and that's not you and you don't feel good doing that, but it's just because you watch so much porn. Like, just pay attention to the things. And then sometimes it could be a matter of just changing the type of porn you watch. There's actually this really popular sex blog. I think it's actually the most popular sex blog right now. It's called Bellesa, BELLESA I think it's .co. And this is a sex blog that's, I think it was created for, there's a lot of I thinks, so go check it out. But I think it was created for women's pleasure, especially. There's also erotica in there since it's a sex blog. So there's articles and stories of sex stories. And then there's also porn that's primarily for around female pleasure. So it's a different style in the sense that it's more geared towards women, which means it's a bit softer in nature. It's a bit more realistic, and just changing the type of porn that you view, like maybe going from Pornhub to going to Bellesa, I hope that's how you say it, I don't know, can change the way that you feel about your porn viewing habits. So that might even in itself make you feel a little better about about watching porn or about your sex life in general, and you realize, okay, that's what it was. It wasn't necessarily porn itself, it was the type I was watching. So this whole thing is about the mindfulness, right? Like, I'm just trying to get you to be mindful of the fact that there are things you can use this to, there are ways you can use porn to enhance your sex life with yourself and partner. There are ways that it can be detrimental. So your job is to be on the lookout for where you are and where you feel like you're headed. And if you feel like you're headed in the wrong direction, pull back. Okay? And lastly, maintain a healthy relationship with porn. So whether you're pro porn or against porn, maintaining a healthy relationship is to pretty much neutralize it. Right? So don't give it all this emotional power of being this terrible thing you're trying to run away from. Like, if you're trying to quit and you find yourself watching porn, don't beat yourself up or tell yourself, oh, fuck, like, why is this so hard to stop? And I hate that I keep doing this. I'm so mad at myself. Like, oh, I can't believe I gave in again. Like, don't judge yourself, all right? Like, if you watched it, you watched it. So there's no reason to judge yourself. And judging yourself most likely is going to put you in the place of continuing the behavior because you're just giving that thing more emotional control over you. So when you have more of the thought process of, okay, I watched porn, kind of wish I didn't. Tomorrow, I definitely wish I didn't. Tomorrow, I am not going to. And if I feel tempted, this is what I'll do. Okay, so you're just being very upstraight, is that a thing? You're just being upfront and forward about it. And pretty much telling yourself, like, acknowledging that you did it. Sure, acknowledge the behavior you didn't want to have, but also set yourself up for success the following day and get some sort of immediate plan of action in line so that you don't fall into the temptation the following day or the following next day. Just don't fuck up twice in a row is definitely like one of the main ways to overcome like going down the wrong road, so to speak, if that makes sense. I'm sorry, it's really early. It's really early. But even if you do, say like you do fuck up and you watch twice, all right? Don't beat yourself up. So that's like the main thing. Maintain a healthy relationship by keeping a healthy relationship with you, by not being harsh on yourself or judgmental, and also not giving this thing so much power. All right? So neutralize it. If you're trying to quit, when you give in to the temptation, neutralize your reaction. All right, I watched it, wish I didn't, tomorrow I'm not going to, and this is what I'll do to make sure I won't. So just being more logical about it versus emotional and getting all upset and beating yourself up. Right? And if you are in a healthy relationship with porn, okay, like, cool. Just keep that, maintain. I mean, if you're pro porn, maintain a healthy relationship as well, where it's just like, all right, watch porn. This is working for me. I can acknowledge that. I'm going to keep it at 2 times a week, 3 times a week, whatever feels good to you, whatever feels good to your brain, your body, and your relationship. All right? Like, I personally believe that what makes porn most harmful is using it as a means to not communicate with your partner or yourself and using it to mask your feelings. All right? So when you find yourself going towards porn so you don't have to feel a certain something, or if you find yourself going towards porn because you don't want to communicate with your partner, or you're just fed up with them and you'd rather just take the easy road of watching porn, that's when it can become dangerous. That's when you probably catch yourself slipping into unwanted habits of pornography. So do not use it as a crutch. Do not use it as an easy way out unless you just want to have an easy orgasm and that's your intention and your relationship is great. So you know what I mean? Like, when it comes to communication, do not use it as a way to avoid communicating. Do not hide behind porn. Either use it and take ownership over the fact you're using it and it's helping you and it's enhancing your sex life, or do not use it. Okay? So, but have your own opinion. Don't just hear about the no fap challenge and go, oh yeah, like a lot of guys are addicted. I better never watch this again. Fuck, why am I watching this? Don't beat yourself up. If it's working for you, you can use it, but be mindful around it. Okay? It's like you don't have to automatically shame it. It's a tool, and you can see it as, if it's working for you, continue looking at it as a tool to enhance your sex life with yourself and others. You don't have to immediately feel guilty for watching porn just because you have friends who are addicted. I know that may sound harsh, but it's about being mindful, and it's about remembering a lot of people use this as a tool, and a lot of people see success with it and enjoy it, and that's fine. At least that's my opinion. So anyway, I hope that this gave you some insight. I hope this gave you some perspective. It might have triggered some of you, but I hope that you realize I'm just pointing out what is working for a lot of men that I speak to and what doesn't work for some men. And how you can protect yourself is through sexual awareness, especially with your sexual self and your sexual relationships with your partner. As long as those come first and foremost, porn can be used as a side thing. Just try not to make it the main thing, okay? Because that's when you start using it to hide. All right, that's it, guys. I did want to make an announcement that I do have a course coming out on December 6th, and it is about helping you guys overcome sexual performance anxiety. So if you feel like you struggle with sexual performance anxiety, this is going to be the course for you. I'm really excited. It's going to be great. I know there's a lot of you struggling in this area, so I decided to make something specific for you guys. So I will keep you updated on that. But other than that, have an amazing morning, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world, and I'll talk to you soon. I hope this episode helped you. If it did, I would love for you to leave me an iTunes review. It would mean the world to me. You can also screenshot your favorite episodes and tag me on Instagram @StephGanowski. And before I go, remember, your sex life is as good as you make it out to be. Until next time.